Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyandgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
In over 175 countries and all the ships at sea, you can hear this wonderful program on the American Forces Radio Network. As always, shout out to the brave men and women of our United States Armed Forces. Shout out to the Day Trader Trio, always with us, always 100%. Back here at the bar, it is Costa, it is Mary Burt Godwin, and of course, our fearless leader, Sully. Head of corporate development for a company called Ainos, A-I-N-O-S-E, or otherwise known as AI Knows.
Yes.
Because this is teaching healthcare to robots in terms of actually being able to teach machines how to smell. Jack, good to see you, man. How are you?
All right, guys. Good to be back.
Hey, Jack, since you have been on for a while, and we're looking forward to having you on more, Ainos is teaching machines how to smell, and that's a brand new frontier in AI. Let's review that once again. What was the tip of the spear for you guys as a company? And I realize that you're head of corporate development, but I know there's CEOs and CFOs that were there from the very beginning as well. But what made someone think we need to be able to smell in order to get better health care and so on and so forth?
So, let's go back to the very beginning. I mean, we were originally trying to use this to solve healthcare problems, right? Our first, the very, very first development was for going into the critical care settings, helping doctors being able to diagnose ventilator-associated pneumonia patients faster. Because right now they were using culture tests. You take the culture sample, you go back 2-3 hours, come back. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. In the meantime, you're giving the patients these broad spectrum antibiotics. Sometimes it gets into this negative loops because you couldn't get the results right. So we were trying to develop something that can shorten everything, all the test cycle from a few days into a few minutes. And we know that through a lot of the medical studies that have pointed out that your bodies, parts of your body, they emit these tiny traces of what we call VOCs. If you can analyze this, it actually represents your health. Just historically, people were doing this kind of research with the machines the size of a printer or bigger and requires these technicians to run it. So it's not scalable. So we figured out that, so we can use these sensors to capture these signals, and we use AI to train this. And that's how we got everything started. And as we progress along the ways, these robotic themes started to show up. I think the first incident we have was we were SoftBank a few years ago. They got these robots, right? And then, this guy's picture was all over the face, right? All over the internet.
Right.
And we noticed one thing. Wait a minute, this robot has no nose. Wait a minute, there's something's not right here. So so that really got us thinking, right? Yeah, as these robotics and AIs, they got all these senses, they're still missing that very critical layer which is the ability to smell, right?
Right.
For you to be able to smell the environment, that's where you can really get into the homes and for robots to really help people. And as we progress along, we found a new use case is using this technology into industrial setting, and that's where we are today.
Yeah, and I, which is interesting about this is that no one would have ever thought about preventative maintenance, in terms of health because of smell. But then again, if you think about it, I mean, it's one of the most reliable sort of senses that we have in terms of determining if there's an issue or not physically.
Yeah. I mean, back all the way, if you look back to the histories, if you go back all the way to the Greek time, ancient Greece, they were trying to diagnose your health by physically smelling you. Yeah. So, 2,000 years ago, people were actually smelling it. It's just that history goes away. This is kind of the lost art, and we're trying to, pick it up. Human nose got tired, machine don't get tired.
Yeah. So, Jack, this is basically the age-old saying, it doesn't pass the smell test. Is this going to, get to the point where you walk into a doctor's office or a medical facility and there's going to be an Ainos robot or some sort of machine there that, hey, pass through that and let us take a whiff of you?
Well, we were developing devices that were kind of handheld, so people can use it in the clinical settings or the home use settings. But as we move along the ways, I think starting from last year, we started to realize that there's a massive opportunities within actually the industrial settings.
Gotcha.
Factories, right? Robots. The robots these days, their ultimate goal is their first use case that people are talking about is getting these robots into factories so they can do the jobs, right? Because, we're not having more babies, so we have a major labor issues all over the world.
Jack, real quickly, only because we're short on time, a lot of our audience invests in publicly traded companies, and I get a lot of emails asking, sort of things that you can't answer as an insider in the company. However, what you can answer is, in terms of milestones, last time you were on with us, you've hit every milestone you guys have talked about, even before we started interviewing you guys. What are kind of milestones that can you share with us for 2026 that you think are going to have the most impact for you guys as a business?
Sure. So 2025, we set out a lot of partnerships related to the industrials growing the ecosystems. 2026 is all about scaling this, right? So last year we talked about we got this orders for our first customer in the semiconductor backend business. So this year we're gonna get our machines into their factory and start, trainings. That's number one. This week we announced the new partnerships, right? Expanding our business opportunity within the semiconductor sectors. So we have this new distribution relationship with the Taiwanese companies. They're basically serving all the major front-end companies like Intel, TSMC, Micron. This is what we call the front-end companies. So that really gives us a new opportunity to move into the real biggest value chain of the semiconductor supply chains. So that's where we are. Semiconductors, robotics, that's gonna be our major milestones. Getting our product from pilots into deployment and scaling this up.
And we need you on the air more. This is exciting stuff. Fantastic.
It really is. Jack Lu, Head of Corporate Development, Ainos Incorporated. AIMD is their ticker symbol. All right, keep it right here. There is a lot more to come with the Big Show. Do not go anywhere.
You still there?